Hello, my dragon friends. It is Friday. I thought I would go live since I like to do that at the end of the week. So I am Araya, one of the dragon family, and I am a psychic medium, energy healer, life coach, and pulling all those together. Sometimes people have dragons come into their field, so I help them understand that because that is probably the biggest thing that I bring to the planet. And so I thought I would join you guys today and talk about, why do we work with the dragons? And there's quite a few reasons, but I will share. Hi, Kayla. Nice to see you. That we've had some amazing discussions in the book club so far. And it's just reminding me and bringing all this as we do meditations together and we start clearing pathways in the body. Why are we doing it? Why are we connecting to the dragons? And for some of us, it's a calling that you just can't ignore or avoid. It's one of those things that it's a part of you. It's not that way for everybody because there are dragons within all of us in the Hara. Everyone has a connection through the dragons, but some of us are more deeply connected. And so what becomes important, I think one of the most important pieces of working with the dragons, and this is going to be a really big part of the Dragon Heart program, is activating and opening all the pathways through the body. Hi, Araya. I love that. Anyway, so what do the different dragons do? The elemental dragons specifically, and the black and white dragons, help open things through the physical body. And so why are we on a journey? Why are we on a spiritual journey? Why are we opening to anything beyond the physical in the first place? We're here to actually bring higher and higher frequencies into our body, aren't we? And how do we do that if we don't have the pathways cleared and have done a bunch of work to get the physical density of the body shifted? Hi, Elizabeth. So, example, the Earth Dragon. He goes through the torso. You call him in, call her in, you merge them. Every single pathway through the physical body in the torso region specifically, where the light body needs to anchor, that's what they help work and clear out. So what happens when you do that? When you sit and work with them and you feel all this energy moving through, can it stay? Well, it depends how much you've released. So if you've got, hi Jen, nice to see you. If you've got a bunch of emotional clearing that you've done, and there's space already, as you work with that dragon, those frequencies are going to be able to stay in the body. If they're not, at least they're coming through, they're clearing and moving things out, and they're hitting and they're triggering. So what happens when those things trigger? You might finish your meditation and that night in sleep time or over the next week, you might have a lot of emotion come up. You might have a lot of memory come up. You might have situations that you just start getting triggered at and you're like, I thought I dealt with this. This is an old pattern of mine that's coming up again to be seen. So what is that? Why is that here? And what's that about? And really, that's because you've worked with the dragons. That frequency has come in. It's met things that it can't reside with. And so this is your opportunity. They're helping you see it. They're helping bring it up into the forefront so that you can deal with those and release them, because they're being triggered in the body as that new frequency hits, and if they can't coincide, they can't co-reside, then the densities have to go. And so that's the gift too, is not only do they bring those frequencies in, but they help trigger and show you where the blocks are. And so as we work with all the different dragons, especially the elementals, that's what starts happening through the body. You've got the air dragons going through the spine, you've got the water dragons working through the heart, and that one for me is the most precious because that's my lineage. And so the heart is, a lot of us need some heart work, and you will find in working with all of the dragons there's just incredible heart energy, but working with the water dragons specifically and that lineage, as you work through them and go up and work with the crystal and the dragons of the dragons through Orion, and then the Pleiades that are in that lineage, deeper and deeper and deeper heart openings. So what's that going to do? As you take in more light frequencies through the heart, all those old pains, all those old griefs, they're just going to come up. Those that are stuck there, they're going to come to the light of day. And you're going to keep having those opportunities to see those and heal them and clear them. So that's one of the biggest reasons to work with the dragons. They bring us all of that activation so that our body's ready as we keep progressing on our spiritual journey. So some people use dragons as a constant tool because they're really connected to them. They are part of the dragon lineage, which is most of the people in this group. But if you have friends that, maybe they're not really super called to it, they're going to have other pathways to get to those places. And yet the dragon work can come in and help also. Once they've cleared, if they like different work, there's all kinds of different mediums to go out, modes to go out there and actually clear emotional stuff. But maybe calling in the dragons would help them bring those pieces of the light body in. Just maybe. So as we go through and do that and we progress on our journey, that's one of the biggest reasons. And I would say some other reasons to work with the dragons, it's just a beautiful experience. If you've never had a huge heart opening, I tell you what, they're going to crack you open. They're one of the highest love frequencies I've ever experienced next to Mother, Father, God. And if you're not ready to embrace Mother, Father, God, maybe you can start by embracing the dragons. Part of my journey, I interestingly started by embracing God as a child and then got really disgusted with religion. I had a really hard time with a lot of the judgment and separation that I found happening in different aspects of religion, different families or lines of religion that were really saying that, we're the only ones that have it right, and, you guys are going to burn in hell, or you're going to, not be entered into the heavenly gates, or whatever the case may be. And I had a hard time looking at, and I don't like to get political, but I am going to go here just a little bit, as I started traveling the world and experiencing Buddhism and the Hindus and Islam and all these different religions of the world, and billions of people, less than a third of the population of the world follows the religions over here and looks to Mother, Father, God, or they do, but they call it something different. I just had a hard time reconciling in myself that many people could be wrong, that many people would be excluded from the greatest love known, right? So I pushed it aside, and I started exploring and explored other different things, and it led me to this really incredible opening down what people call a New Age path or a metaphysical path. And as I delved and dived and kept opening, then the dragons came. And so all of that kept leading me forward, and huge heart openings with the dragons, huge body openings with the dragons, just what we talked about with all the pathways. And awarenesses. I started becoming aware of things and information. Sacred geometry. That's another big piece of working with the dragons, working with Metatron. And as he's one of the gatekeepers, he's one of the core pieces in the dragon work, because that's one of his roles in helping create this particular universe. So anyway, just having that heart opening, having that movement forward in my own path, it eventually led me to, well, I need to look at Mother, Father, God again. And so coming full spiral. So I just love how the universe has put in my path, and my own soul has put in my path, these remembering or these road marks or these turns along the way that have continually led me here, led me here, and now have led me full circle back here. So why work with the dragons? Maybe it's the opening you need to get to the next step on your path. And it's going to take you somewhere, I guarantee it. And as I opened and started exploring all the information that comes through in working with the higher octaves through the Orions, the Pleiades, and the Sirian dragons, you become more aware of who you are. So as you're opening on your path and you start opening the body and opening your expansive consciousness, becoming aware of greater things out there. Metatron, is he a dragon or angel? I'll explain that in a minute, Kayla. Great question. As we continue, more and more thought consciousness can come in. And that's part two. If the pathways in our conscious brain can get opened, then the higher frequencies can come in there, and more information can seep in that we are ready to actually bring down into this realm. And so that's what I've seen happen. Kayla, on your question, Metatron, he is one of the archangels. So he's been my go-to guy, because he's just, for some reason, I have a deep connection with him. But I would say that I like to call him the Einstein of the archangels. I feel like he is the guru of physics and sacred geometry, and if anything is happening, and even stargates, if there's something happening geometrically, I guarantee you that either Metatron or one of his apprentices or beings that work with him or in his trainings is part of that. So absolutely, Kayla. And there's lots more information out there about him. Incredible being. I remember writing that he was one of the highest, or the highest archangel. I feel like in the hierarchy of things, there are, as I understand it in the spirit realms, there are hierarchies like governments, but it's based on who has the most loving and truest intention versus how our hierarchies and governments work. So anyway, I hope that was helpful today. I'm not going to be here long unless you guys have questions. You might notice that I'm looking just a bit peaked or pale, with a little bout of gut infection this week. I'm on some heavy duty antibiotics and they are just kicking me. I feel it almost like I've been talking around in circles maybe, and hopefully not confusing you guys, because they're making really lightheaded. But I didn't want to miss my Friday meetup, my end of the week meetup with my dragon family. So wanted to be here and at least say hello, give you a heads up about the Dragonheart program is coming in. Starting in just about a month away, just over March 21st. That's going to kick off a 9-month journey. Thank you, Jen. Me too. My body does not like to take foreign things, so it's really thrown me for a loop. Anyway, the Way the Dragonheart applications are available now if you want more information about that, to see if it's calling you. And those that are feeling called, I know you will, because that gong chime went out from the three of us holding the space for that. And thanks, Elizabeth. So I'm going to wish you all a great weekend if there are any specific questions, and I hope that talking about why I work with the dragons was helpful to you. And I think one of the other things that I should probably mention on that is, besides bringing our light bodies down, that's really the crucial. That's really, I think, where the dragons have fit in for humanity, is they are the guardians, the matrix keepers, the keepers at the door, whatever you want to call them, that are those that they are in charge of the light body descending. They are in charge of all the places in the body that anchor that, and the matrices that hold that in place. So that's key number one. But opening to huge heart openings, experiencing energies beyond what you've ever known before, opening to more higher thought consciousness, and just to make new friends. If you have experience, if you are able to see, if you have that gift open, and they can help open it with your intuitive sight, because I know that they have been influential in my intuitive sight opening up, that you can actually start to experience them and greater levels of family. So I'm sure there's many more reasons that I could probably come up with if I sit for a while and wasn't on antibiotics that are making me dizzy. But I hope all of those give you a little desire to dive in with the dragons. And I would love to hear your stories as you do into the group. So have a great weekend, and we will see you next time. Bye.